What's the view of a decorated US military veteran on the start of the pullout? Lt Col Daniel L. Davis did 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan in 2005 and 2011, and for the second was awarded the Bronze Star. Now retired, he's a senior fellow at the US think tank Defense Priorities.
Without question, this is absolutely the right thing to do. I've actually been arguing since 2009 that we shouldn't have done the big Obama surge. I wrote again in 2010 that we were on the brink of failure. And then in 2012, I wrote that we absolutely needed to end this because it was militarily unachievable. We didn't even have militarily achievable objectives. And the longer we delayed ending this and withdrawing our forces, the more it was going to cost us to fail. And that's exactly what's happened.
But has the United States achieved any of its stated objectives in Afghanistan?
Well, we achieved the first statement objectives, which were militarily attainable, which was to harm the Taliban, to disrupt the al-Qaeda network. And all those things were done probably within 6 months. So from, say, by the late spring, early summer of 2002, all the objectives were met. At that time, we should have withdrawn the military component and continued on with humanitarian and diplomatic and other kinds of activities. But instead, we changed the mission to nation building and all kinds of other things that are associated with that. And that's where we went wrong, because then all we are trying to accomplish with military forces are missions that can't be accomplished with military power. And so we baked in failure, and that was the real problem.
But the Taliban, which hosted al-Qaeda in Afghanistan, is still a force in the land.
They still exist there, and there's basically what you're seeing right now is a continuation of the civil war that we interrupted in October of 2001. Our presence there has not tilted the balance in favor of the government side to allow them to win. It's basically perpetuated it on life support. And one of the lesser known ramifications of our presence there is that we actually prevent a resolution, because the Afghan government side is not going to make the hard decisions necessary, the hard compromises that are necessary to end the war. They want to keep holding out for a better deal, but there's not a better deal coming. Now that we're not going to be there, they have to make those hard compromises, or else they're going to continue on fighting without us. And that changes your motivation. I expect to see changes coming in. And I think that this actually gives a better chance to ultimately get to a solution, whereas our presence there would have perpetuated it for another decade or more.
Given the warning that the Taliban have issued today, would you expect U.S. forces in Afghanistan to come under attack during this period when they're withdrawing from the country?
No, I really don't think so. It's not in their interest to do so. If they act against their interest, then they can be very confident that we're going to destroy any attempt that they make to attack the U.S. It will kill any forces that attempt to attack us. We will defend ourselves very powerfully, but they don't need to do that. And I don't think that they will, because all this is doing is really just slightly delaying the withdrawal for a few months. And I bet probably by, say, July, virtually everyone will be out. In fact, I think that you're going to see the September 11th closeout date, really just a ceremonial closing out. But I think that practically speaking, it's going to be over probably by July.
So you clearly don't take the view that the United States has abandoned Afghanistan to its fate at the hands of the Taliban. And I'm thinking here of the kind of progress that has been made in women's rights, women's access to education, and, if you like, the creation of a fledgling democracy.
Yeah, I don't in any way think that the United States is abandoning Afghanistan. I'd take a somewhat harsher look, I suppose, is that we have devoted, and all of our NATO allies have devoted 2 decades of investment, hundreds of billions of dollars of money, and the blood and limbs and lives of so many of our sons for the benefit of Afghanistan. Too many in the Afghan government have failed to take advantage of that, and they have not done what's necessary to bring the war to a conclusion. And that's something that they're going to have to do, because ultimately they've got to live with the outcome, not us. I think 2 decades is more than enough, especially when we've seen virtually no progress in any of the areas where you need to see them, like corruption and capabilities, even in governance. And that's something they've got to come to grips with. And they're the ones that are going to be responsible for the outcome. And so they're going to have to do things. So I don't think that it's the United States' responsibility to literally go on like this forever.
That was Lieutenant Colonel Daniel L. Davis, a veteran of the conflict in Afghanistan, and now with the US think tank Defence Priorities. You're listening to the BBC World Service. I'm Julian Marshall, and this is Newshour.